Welcome back, everyone, to All Things NBA from A to Z, presented by ballislife.com. I'm Kris Pursiainen. That's Zach Noble. We are here to talk about everything happening in the NBA. Zach, we did not do an episode right before Thanksgiving, and this is our first one after it. Happy Thanksgiving to you, sir. Very thankful for
Thank you,
you.
brother.
Very
You too.
thankful for Albert. Very thankful for our listeners and supporters on the show. We had some great episodes recently. Jamal Collier, Jonathan Isaac. Go check those out. They're right on our channel if you haven't seen them yet. Some really nice interviews. ESPN, Collier, and the Orlando Magic's Jonathan Isaac. That said, the news of the week is dependent on whether or not you respect the cup. Now, I personally respect the cup. I like the cup. I love the cup, some would even say. I have lots of fun with the cup. Zach, do you respect the cup?
Oh, absolutely. It's made regular season basketball so much better, and I just want my friends and family to understand that. They just too many people don't get involved, are excited about the NBA till about December, Christmas time, and that's I try to pound that home. It's actually changed the last couple of years. I truly believe this is the best product of our lifetimes. The first couple of weeks here, I'm more excited watching this basketball, even though, yes, there's still plenty of blowouts. There's still a lot of teams tanking, raising the white flag, you can say. Whatever
Flag with
pun
two
you want
G's this time.
to. Yeah, exactly. No, I think Cooper's still looking good for that number one pick. He's a worthy guy to tank for, but it's too early for any of that. I mean, there's plenty of great things going on right now. Injuries haven't been too rapid yet, so I think it's been a great start to the regular season. Yes, sure, they're always everywhere, but
And it's not been
honestly,
great.
I don't think it's been that bad compared to years past so far.
Uh, it's not been
Really?
it's been all right. I mean, dude, Paolo, I think the fact that it happened after the 50 bomb made it like extra brutal. Um but yeah, no, it's been
Paulo,
okay.
KD. Yeah, I mean they're piling up now, but
hmm
Kawhi,
I've
Kawhi's
watched
been out all year.
over 50 games so far to start this season, and I've loved it. I think the Cup nights have been the most fun games to watch. That just the Cup environments. It's super awesome. We have our quarterfinals set. NBA Cup quarterfinal schedule. This is not yet in Vegas. Remember, that's the semifinals and the finals. Quarterfinal
Mm.
schedule, December 10th, 7 p.m. Magic at Bucks. 9:30 p.m. Mavericks at Thunder. The next day, December 11th, 7 Hawks at Knicks. 9:30 p.m. Eastern. All these times are Eastern. Warriors at Rockets. So we are down to 8 teams in the NBA Cup. Zach, is there any matchup out of these first couple that you're looking at as being like a wash? Do you think any of these are going to be a blowout? Magic Bucks, Mavs Thunder, Hawks Knicks, Warriors Rockets? I don't know. I think the Bucks have potential to blow out the Magic. I think the Knicks have potential to blow out the Hawks. I'm not sure either will happen.
I predict exactly what you just said. I predict the Bucks and Knicks to both blow their first round matchups out, and then it'll be really interesting in the semifinals. But I mean, it's still early in the season. It's a one game elimination. Somebody can get hot. Anything can happen. I'm not like guaranteeing anything. It's not like 80, 90%, but yeah, it's 65, 70% chance that those teams win. I mean, the Bucks are playing so dang well now. And Chris Middleton's not even back. So I just, I mean, Orlando's been great up until last game. And that matters. That matters. It's the most recent thing. I just the Bucks are playing like a real contender right now. Like I'm all in on the Bucks again. Um, I
Wow.
I am. They sucked me
Wow.
back in. They definitely gonna need Chris Middleton to get over the Celtics. But they can beat anybody in the East right now besides the Celtics. I really believe that. Like I'd pick the Bucks to beat the Knicks in this tournament here. And the West will be tight. I like these matchups in the West though.
I don't think I'm with you there. I think I would go with the Knicks over the Bucks, and it's because the Knicks offense is tearing through teams right now, shredding through defenses, good or bad. And like you look at the Orlando Magic, what they did to the Magic last night, it was a shellacking. It was a an onslaught, right? And the thing is, sure, because they're taking more three-pointers like everyone else, the results are subject to more variance. And as a result of that, you get a lot of games where the Knicks get blown out by a mediocre team or a team like Houston beats them by a couple points. Houston's a good team, but New York should be beating a team like Houston. Houston won that game at home. You also get games where the Knicks blow out teams like Detroit by 30, 40 points, and you get games where they blow out teams like Orlando by 20, 30. So it's a wide spectrum. That said, I do think the Knicks' consistent ability to create good shots when they want to, which is all game long, that just says a lot to me. And like Giannis, sure, right? But OG Anunoby is playing at an all-star level for the Knicks, flat out on both ends. And Precious Achiuwa is supposed to be back in about a week. Now, a week from today is when the Knicks play the Hawks in the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup. This means that if they do match up with the Bucks in Las Vegas, Precious Achiuwa will be on that team plane, and he very well could be playing by then. Anunoby and Achua shut down Embiid in the playoffs in that pivotal game 4 of the first round series. I could see the two of them having a similar effect on Giannis Antetokounmpo. It comes down to, can Mikal Bridges contain Damian Lillard? That's what the guy got like his stripes for, was his defense on Dame in the playoffs and chasing around guards. So I think the Knicks are actually built to beat this Bucks team in the in-season tournament in the NBA Cup. That said, I do think if the Knicks went up against the Thunder, the Hartenstein storyline would be all over the place, but I would probably take the Thunder in that game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Knicks are slowly making their way to peak form. I still uh, think they
Yeah,
got a long ways to go as a team playing together, but their talent is showing now on both
and they're
sides of the ball.
slowly getting healthy, right? Achua coming
Right.
back in about a week, Robinson due to come back in about a month or two, Shamit due to come back in about a month or two. Um, so they're slowly getting healthy too.
Yeah, I just think Giannis, this version of Giannis is a different beast than Embiid last year too, in the playoffs. Uh, I don't think down low, and I think that's where Giannis the difference is. Embiid was more on the elbow, and yeah, I mean he's got had the handle to get to the rim more, but I mean OG and Precious, I think it's still going to take some more time, and I predict the Knicks to be better by the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, I still believe the Knicks will be who I thought they were at the beginning of the year. Come playoff time, I'm just right now. I like the way the Bucks are playing a little better than the Knicks. I tend to lean that way.
Sure. Sure. The Knicks, I think, are 8-2 in their last 10. I think the Bucks have something similar going for them. Like they've also been similarly excellent. If you look at the Eastern Conference standings, you can find out right away. Bucks are 9-1 in their last 10. Knicks are 8-2. So sure, the Bucks have been playing better than the Knicks as of late. The thing is they're both
Not
really good,
much
and
by the
this
record.
this could make for a really great semifinals matchup in the NBA Cup. On the other side, who do you have making it? You said it's the Knicks and the Bucks in the East. What about the West? It's the Warriors at the Rockets on the 11th. The day before, it's the Mavericks at the Thunder. I think the Thunder can probably take that at home against Dallas, get some playoff revenge. The stakes are a little higher for OKC than Dallas because of that. But in the other game, Warriors, I feel like, are the favorite or should be because they have Steph Curry playing basketball for their team. But Houston at home, I could see them eking one out.
Yeah, Draymond should be all good by then. It looks like he's still day to day. Uh, he's got an MRI going on in his calf, but um, yeah, I think they need him to beat Houston. But they can, I mean, they can get hot and win without him. I mean, Houston might treat it more like a playoff game. I think never know. They've never most of those guys have never been there, so the race stakes could matter a little bit, just kind of like the Pacers in the finals last year. They were rolling until they felt the lights of LeBron come on a little bit. But no, I think this is a great matchup. Two teams that play a bit different, and I just think they don't have an answer. The Warriors, unless Draymond plays, I mean, and he will, I think, but that would be the big difference with Şengün having an answer for him on that end. I think he's the big difference maker there.
So I have Knicks Thunder and Thunder over Knicks in Vegas. What is your prediction for the NBA Cup Finals and who's winning it?
I'll go with Thunder and the Rockets. I'm gonna predict the Rockets win. Um,
Whoa. So Bucks Rockets is your hey now.
yep. I think I'm going with the hot team, the Rockets right now.
Milwaukee's
Two-way.
got to win that, right?
Yeah, so I think right now I'm gonna go with Milwaukee versus OKC.
Okay. But if you went Rockets over Thunder, would you have Rockets over Bucks? That's what I was asking.
No, no.
Okay.
I'd stick with the Bucks
You'd
right
go
now.
Bucks. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So you have Thunder Bucks in the finals, though?
Yes.
Okay. And who's
Yeah, that's
winning?
fair.
Who's taking it?
Give me OKC.
All right. So we both have OKC winning the cup. That is probably right, right? Like that sounds right. If you told me at the end of the or before the season that they won the entire cup but did not make it to the Western Conference Finals, I would have said, sure. So maybe that'll happen. I just don't know that they are cohesive enough yet as a team. Like we saw in the playoffs last year when they went to J-Dub for creation, it went poorly, and that's not J-Dub's fault. Um, but it is OKC's fault for needing him in that role. And so now, they have Caruso, they have Hartenstein, but they did not acquire neither of those two players they acquired are someone who can step up into that number two scorer role. We talked about this preseason. It's got to be J-Dub or Chet. And we're here in the start of December past Thanksgiving. We're still saying the same thing about the Thunder. So, you know, both of them, Chet before he got hurt, J-Dub every night, look like they're ready to be a number two option. We'll see, right? We'll see how it progresses by the end of the season because I'm very willing to change my take on the Thunder. Say, hey, Chet, that guy is a real number three, and J-Dub, he's a real number two. Um, I think, I think they can go a long way in the playoffs. Maybe we'll be there. I'd love to say that. So yeah, I think that's
Who
that
would be
on
the
the
biggest
cup.
who would be the biggest surprise for you of the teams to make it and win it? Like for me, I think out of all these teams, I'd be the most shocked if the Warriors came out of the West and the Hawks came out of the East. So the two,
I was
three
gonna
seed.
say Hawks and Rockets, right? Actually,
No, for me, the
nah,
Warriors. I just like the
Magic and Rockets. I'd be shocked if the Magic came out of this because, um,
really over the Hawks, huh?
yeah, because the Hawks like they have this vibe to them right now. Like they have good vibes right now. This whole Dyson Daniels emergence, like Trey loves it. It's all going well for them. And I think the fact that things have not been going well for DeJounte in New Orleans might be playing a role. Like that might be helping them a little bit, being like, oh, see, like we weren't the problem. Like he's hurt over there, whatever. Like we can do this on our own. We're all we need. Ego's always a part in these things. So for the Hawks overall, I think they see themselves as enough. I think Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels are emerging. I think Trey Young is learning how to run this team. And I think because he's so much older than Johnson and Daniels, they do look to him to run the team. They kind of have a unique setup where it all works. I like that team. I like the Hawks. Um, so I would say I'd be more surprised if the Magic made it out. But I want to turn our attention to a team that's not involved here at all. And it's a team that I've wanted to talk to you about for a little bit. It's a team you watch a lot. We've got to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. So Cup aside, Cup behind us. Um, let's pivot here to Timberwolves talk. And I want to get into this with you because we can both offer perspectives on Julius Randle that are maybe different than some other people. I covered him for 2 years in New York, and I often defended him from a lot of the criticism I felt was unfair. I also levied a lot of criticism against him myself. So now he's on the Timberwolves, and we had the incident with Gobert, the the non-pass, then the sassy pass. Now the photo comes out today of everyone huddling at practice, but he's all the way off to the side. And that's like a crazy thing to make note of. But in New York, Randall, it was a thing when he stopped doing like pregame handshakes with the team. And on the road, he wouldn't even like come out when the starters were introduced. They would say, Julius Randle, number 30 from Kentucky, and no one would be there. Um, so this stuff kind of happens with Randall over the years. It's a little bizarre, but it's not unusual for him. And it's happening again now in Minnesota. I say all of this to say, what do you make of Randall in Minnesota so far? I thought he looked good on the court, but there seems to be issues off the court that are manifesting themselves on the court.
Yeah, so the stuff off the court, first of all, it surprised me a lot. It's hard to say about those rumors. A lot of they're not being dispelled a ton by local media. Um, I mean, they're kind of backing it up, but I mean, they're not fully committing to it either. So there's a lot of gray area for me. I just go by what I see on the court, and to me, this team, like I knew it would take time. Everywhere Julius has ever gone has taken time to adjust, and got he just has that type of game. It's not doesn't fit seamlessly with anybody. But I do like his numbers he's putting up. Like the numbers are fine. It's just the style, the fit, and the defense has come around for the entire team, and that we were worried about that. Um, 5 to 7 games ago, I'd say. We were sitting around like 15 to 20th ranked defense. Now we're back to almost where we were last year from just a numbers standpoint. And I feel like it's looked that way as well. It could look a bit better yet, be more consistent. But honestly, it's tough because it's just the vibes, it's a vibe thing, you know? Like you said, the vibes are good in Atlanta. The vibes are not good in Minnesota for a 500 team matching up. And it's crazy how same records can look so different. And just for like a team, I mean, even comparing it to a team with such a little talent like the Clippers, it's just those guys fit so perfectly together. They're just everybody knows their role. Where the Timberwolves, I mean, we still don't know who's coming off the bench. The minutes are up and down. Dante DiVincenzo figuring out his role, I think, would really benefit everybody, including Julius. But no, I mean, Mike Conley's been very inconsistent this year. I mean, he has no game scoring game outside of three-point shooting right now. It's it's different. Okay. I don't think Mike Conley's done. Like I think he's just going through a little slump, I'd say. But I mean he's definitely you can tell he's aging a little bit. Uh, but man, for me, I would really just like to see consistency with Dante in the starting lineup more, honestly. Even Nikhil Alexander Walker. Jaden McDaniels, I mean, he's the easiest culprit. He's been the worst player, the player that hasn't taken a jump by far. But at the same time, like his defense is good. And if that's all you like, I feel like bringing in Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, like we didn't need Jaden to take this huge offensive leap, even though it would help and it would raise the ceiling. As long as his defense is where it is, I mean, we're just not getting the bench that I was boasting about before the season. This is the greatest bench in Timberwolves history. Well, yeah, it could be if they actually played a role. They knew where the consistency's coming from. I mean, it's a mess, and I don't think there's no like any structure to it. And it's been very disappointing. Like he hasn't been the connector and necessarily the leader that the team like longs for and needs because it's not like Mike Conley's Chris Paul, this wizard that you think you can lift everybody else up. Like he's never been, I mean, not even close to the James Harden level, or I mean, even Steph Curry. He's fit seamlessly with so many other guys, but their roles are just so defined. You know what you're getting out of them night in, night out. It's depressing, man, because I don't see like until I see minutes changing, rotations changing, I don't see a road any other way. Like I feel like the talent's there. I feel like the talent can work, but we don't know who Rob Dillingham is. We don't like Julius needs the pieces around him to fit more because I mean, it's either you adjust to Julius because he ain't adjusting to you. Does that make any sense there?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you summed up already in just a couple months of watching him play what so many Knick fans felt over the years, which led to irrational and emotional takes of like just trade him for whatever because it was so frustrating to deal with the ups and downs, even though the ups were great, dealing with those inclines, the steepness of those changes, and the frequency with which they occur, the amount of inflection points there are over the course of a season. All of those factors tired Knick fans out. And they, Randall came to them at a time where they were desperate for someone, and he helped get the franchise back to a one that could put out a team that restored the feeling from the 90s and the 70s of tough, basketball that represents the working New York City resident. Um, but it was also clear to a lot of Knick fans in that time that the team would be at its best with Randall somewhere else. And I think the Knicks were just waiting for a situation to come up where they could move him for a legitimate upgrade. And those situations did not come up until the second aprons implementation forced Minnesota to think a little more intensely about their finances going forward and make some moves that were in line with that. So, yeah, I think it's weird and I think it's a tough situation. Now, we don't need to talk about the Knicks and go long on Cat. Jeff Teague just said he should be in the MVP conversation. I frankly agree. All of that
You think
said,
he's been more valuable than Brunson? Let me ask you that.
MVP
I don't.
conversation has never been about who's more valuable.
But that's what it would come down to if whoever's in the MVP conversation. Sure, one can be
It's
top 10, the
never
other can be
it's
top
never been
20.
about it's never been about who's more valuable. It's just not what the award is about. It's a misnamed award, and that's okay. But it's not about who's the most valuable. It's about are they on a good
Are
team
you
and
gonna do this right now? I
are they
don't.
putting up great stats on a great team? That's the award.
I disagree.
LeBron would
I
have
think
9 if it were most
it
valuable.
changes year to year.
The award isn't who has the crappiest GM despite being the best player. The award is who's the best player on the best team. And then when it fits, they actually do most valuable,
The
like
Nuggets weren't the best
Russ
team last year,
Westbrook.
though.
Russ Westbrook MVPs. Or they'll do makeup MVPs. Like Embiid has one that Jokic should have won, and Jokic has one that Embiid should have won. It all evens out, right? But yeah. So despite that, we can talk about something else. And I have someone I'd like to bring up. It's James Harden and the Clippers, right? And this, I think, is a fitting final topic for our show today because I want to know what you think they should do. Do you think they should go get Brandon Ingram? Because I can tell you, Brandon Ingram just wants to go somewhere that's going to pay him. So if they agree to pay him, should they go get him? Should they look at their team as if Kawhi is never coming back? Should they build as if they're going to be able to contend when Leonard is back? It's a very, very hard question, very tough question to answer. And that's why neither you nor I get paid the amount of money that lines up with Lawrence Frank, right? But What would you do if you were him? What would you do if you ran the Clippers? How would you approach the rest of this season? Because my take to start you off is that James Harden has still got it. He still looks good. He can still run a team. He just had 39 on Denver. He is not a superstar. He is not a top 10 player, but he has still got it and he can still command a floor out there. What do you do if you're the Clippers?
This team really gels. He's got some young guys coming alive, uh, and there's Ty Lue's starting to play these guys a little more. Nobody besides Zach Noble and maybe Lawrence Frank saw the Norman Powell blossom. What do we want to call this? What do we want to call this Norman Powell revelation? Do we want to call this?
It's not even a remontada. It's more of like
I don't want to go too crazy here. Call me.
it's not like an emergence of stardom. We know he's not a star player, but it
I
is
mean, he's
it's
this
something.
team keeps winning. He's an all-star. He's a borderline all-star.
God damn it, Zach. No, he's not an all-star. Borderline on a good day, if you're being nice, you throw him in as one of the six guys that could have been considered if every one of the starters died and needed an injury replacement. But good God, you have won many battles on Norman Powell. This is a one that I will not cede. He's not a goddamn all-star. This is worse than the Derek White stuff from last season because at least White was impacting games like a star. God damn. What did the Clippers do?
Dude,
How'd you get
there's been
sidetracked with
crazier
Norm Powell?
all-stars
I want to know
than a
how I
guy
asked
that's
you. I want to know
51
how
and
I asked
51
you.
right now, averaging 24.
I want to know how I asked you what the Clippers should do for the rest of the season, and you sidetracked us into Norman Powell propaganda. Answer me that, Zach Noble.
I know. I'm getting around to my point. I'm just showing like what this team's bones have. So here we go. Brandon Ingram is honestly he's more of a hell no to me than an even debate
Oh,
for the Clippers. Yeah, I've never been no, I've never really been much of a Brandon Ingram guy, but um
damn.
I if there was a piece you can throw in with Brandon Ingram, like a Trey Murphy that equals enough for Kawhi Leonard, um, and
Now you're getting
who else?
crazy.
Because here's the thing, I'm not
Kawhi
giving
and
up Terrence
Zion.
Mann for Brandon Ingram. Hell no.
You think the Pelicans right now think putting Kawhi and Zion on the same roster is the answer? You think the Pelicans want to
That
have
would be unbelievable.
Kawhi and Zion on the same roster?
The Pelicans are very incoherent. I mean, they went for CJ McCollum. I mean, shit. DeJounte Murray,
They did do
CJ,
that.
like they got a lot of weird trades, misfits. Like, I mean, I still like Zach LaVine just based on his talent, but like even then, I don't think there's anything the Clippers outside of Kawhi Leonard can give up without attaching a third team to for Zach LaVine. Uh, Brandon Ingram's a little less expensive right now. Who knows what his actual contract would be? But who else out there is there besides those two guys that the Clippers could go get? I can't think of anyone. Like
Uh,
Paul George. If the Sixers kept sliding Paul George's on there, but like no, he's not going back there. Hell no. I mean, I'm
that's
seeing
not happening.
LeBron James in the trade machine right now.
Good God.
Right. I'm seeing. Have you
Yeah.
seen that?
No, I haven't
What do
seen
you think
LeBron in
of
the trade
LeBron
machine.
switching locker rooms?
I think it's not happening. I think he would
Yeah, I
be
don't
fine
even
with
really
it.
like to entertain that either.
I
But
think LeBron would be fine with it deep down. If you asked him on a lie detector, would you be fine retiring a Clipper? I think he'd be
yeah,
completely fine with it because it's still in LA. That said,
and it's Ty
publicly,
Lue.
publicly, I don't think he can be so loud about just wanting to be in LA because it guarantees that he's going to hear for the rest of his career about how he doesn't care about winning and he just wanted to go to LA for whatever. Yes, he won the ring in 2020 and blah blah blah, but like the fact that I can say blah 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 after a ring kind of tells you where that discourse is at. So yeah, I guess that will
Here's the
that'll be
real
that for
piece.
that.
Can I tell you who the real guy is? I got him. The real player the Los Angeles Clippers need to go get is the guy that they should have got in Houston when it was Chris Paul, James Harden, Jimmy
Jimmy
Butler.
Butler.
Yes.
Damn it, that's good. And he might shake loose. Pat might be done with him.
Why
Zach,
not?
I'm
Why not
impressed
flip
with you.
Kawhi Leonard for Jimmy Butler? Just something
I
easy.
am impressed with you. The Heat should flip Leonard to a third team. They should flip Leonard to a third team. Can they flip Leonard for
But would
Chris
it be straight
Middleton?
up though? Would it be
Can they
straight
get
up
Chris
where it
Middleton
makes
for
sense?
Leonard? I don't know straight up.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, they could get
honestly,
Middleton for Leonard. The Bucks would do that. The Clippers probably wouldn't.
I mean, you got to give him
I don't see the Clippers
you got to give
swapping
him Jimmy,
Leonard for Middleton.
but I want to say they would take Jimmy for Leonard at this point. Kawhi like doesn't play.
No.
No. But this is on to something. This is on to something. Um, that's a great thought. Butler to the Clippers. See, there's something there. I don't know if Jimmy would want it, but if he would, there's something there.
Why
Okay.
wouldn't Jimmy want it? Tell me that.
Because I don't know that maybe he doesn't want to leave Miami. Maybe he does want to leave Miami and wants to go to LA, in which case the Lakers are probably the better team for that. Like the Clippers, the thing is the Clippers are operating, we don't know if they're going to operate out of desperation or not. And if they don't, then Butler is not really an option. If they do, Butler I think could very much be an option. That is very intriguing to me.
All right, the last player I'm going to throw out there right now that would do a little bit, not going to do a whole lot, but Jeremy Grant needs to be on a new
Hey,
team.
that's something. And it would help
Yes, and I think
supplant.
he would
Yeah.
impact.
I mean, the Blazers need to move Grant and either Ayton or Williams, probably Williams, and like maybe Simon's all like they have moves they need to make for depth reasons. They have moves they need to make for development reasons. They have three centers. One of them is Klingon, who they just used a high pick on. They should trade one of the other two. Ayton is a good center offensively who can probably help the young players develop. So do you keep him? Do you keep Rob Williams, who's an injury question mark? So you got to trade one of those two. Then you have Sharp, who's really good. So and then you have Kamara and Reith, these younger guys who are on these cost control deals. So trading Grant can make sense, but then you have Henderson and Simons and Sharp in the backcourt. So do you trade Simons to open up room for Henderson if he grows? Like I could go on for 30 minutes. Like the Blazers have a lot to consider.
Oh, Blazers have a
Um,
lot.
they should keep Shaden. They should keep Tumani. They should keep Klingon. They should keep Banton. Delano
Scoot.
Banton has been fantastic for them. And they should I guess they should be fine keeping Chris Murray. His value isn't great. He has some growing to do still.
Deep cut,
Um,
deep cut.
the rest of their roster can kind of go though, no? Like Scoot they should keep because his value is as low as it's going to be. Other than that, I would trade Simons, Grant, whatever, tank out, play the young guys. I don't think they're close to winning something. And I didn't get the Denny trade when they made it, and I think they should see it as sunk cost. They shouldn't feel like they have to go all in on this team just because they traded for Denny. I guess is what I'm getting at.
What do you mean all in on this team? They can't go all. There's nothing to be all in on.
Well, if instead of trading Simons and Grant, they keep them around, they keep winning useless games, they keep
Yeah.
drafting talent, they keep adding to this team. Like I think they should intentionally tear it down a little bit. We can revisit this another time. That is
For sure.
going to do it for today's episode of All Things NBA from A to Z, presented by ballislife.com. I'm Kris Pursiainen. thanking my guy Zach Noble for being here alongside with me today, talking hoops, given that Jimmy Butler trade idea, and also for everything you do for the show. Appreciate you big time. Listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Viewers, thanks so much for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe, 5 stars, you name it, and we'll see you next time. Peace.